Paul, you're making your Sprint All-Star race debut. How's that feel?
Good. Watching it for a lot of years, and it's something that we've tried to transfer into the last couple of years, and you know that open race is always such a crapshoot. I mean, it's you kind of go for broke, top two transfer, and so I think we've wrecked out like the last 3 years, just going for it. So this year we're in it. It's going to be nice to race at night, understand what the track conditions will be like for next weekend, and basically going to use it. We're going to get aggressive with the setup, try some things that we haven't tried before, and try to learn stuff for next week.
Okay, we'll take questions for Paul Menard. If you have one, raise your hand and we'll get to you. Start here on the front row with Thomas.
Paul, Thomas Pope from the Fayetteville Observer. How long after Indy did this thought pop into your head that you were already in this race?
I think the first media stop that we did right after Victory Lane, they said that, and it didn't even cross my mind, and so I thought, it's pretty cool. We probably get to save a race car and get in the big race regardless. So it's a neat experience. Like I said, been watching it for years, and it's a lot of excitement.
The questions for Paul back in the back right there. Jeff's got one. Raise your hand, Jeff. We'll get you a wireless. In the red shirt right in the middle.
Hey, Paul. Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. Dale Jr. just said, as far as the race Saturday night, the All-Star event, it's kind of an unwritten code that you just let it go if someone gets to your rear bumper and fireworks happen. Is that kind of the way you'll look at the race this weekend?
I kind of think it'd be the opposite. You got no points to lose, but again, I've never been in this race before, so the open race, for example, that I've been in the last few years, it's pretty hardcore. I mean, there's not a lot of give and take. It's a short, I think 20 lap segments, and you got to go. We're the All-Star, and I think it's kind of what the format's like this year with each segment. If you win a segment, you start up front the final segment. So I think that's going to make it even more aggressive, and especially in the earlier stages.
Other questions for Paul? Right here, Reed has one, and then over to Woody.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. Paul, being in the race and not having to go through the showdown and stuff like that, how does that change your whole weekend?
Not a whole lot. Honestly, I hope I don't screw up qualifying and run too many laps or not enough or something. That'll be a new experience, but we'll be on the track here a little bit, and it's going to be, like I said, we're trying some new things with the car, and we'll try to run through some of that, and then we'll focus on qualifying and doing the hitting pit road and trying to figure out how to get off pit road the most efficient way. And but for the most part, it's business as usual. We're trying stuff, and we'll tune the car to the track.
Let's go over here to Woody Kane.
Woody Kane with MRN. Just wanted to get an update from you, Paul. As last year, you guys really started to seem to break through and come on, and how you feel about where you are now at this point in the season. You've made progress, stay the same, or how do you think that's going?
Well, right now, I feel like last year we probably ran faster at this point. We had faster cars, but we struggled finishing races and putting the whole races together. Right now, it seems like we're not running as strong throughout the race, but we'll finish a race, top 15 or somewhere, and collect points. And with the way the format is to make the chase, well, I think you have to win at least 2 races to make the chase, with a wild card. But consistency is so important, finishing races and getting those top 15s, top 10s, and clicking them off. And knock on wood, we haven't had any problems as far as finishing a race, except for just the one in Phoenix. So consistency is key, I think.
Other questions for Paul right here.
Paul, Kenny Beck, WXII, NBC, in the Piedmont Triad. How aggressive are you willing to be, particularly on that final 10-lap segment, if you are right there? And just as a driver, sort of in this format for the first time, how difficult will that be to change your mindset, no holds barred, to go for that $1 million?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same as every week, where you might want to go harder than you're capable of going, or what the car's allowing you to do, and a longer race, you might conserve your tires in the long run. We won't have many long runs tonight, so even if you want to go hard, you might you don't want to do anything stupid. If the guy in front of you is quicker than you, you can't really do much with that. But restarts, if there's late restarts, they're going to get pretty crazy. That seems to be kind of the easiest spot to pass right now, is if you can get a couple positions on a restart, it goes a long ways. You kind of maintain, and if we do have late restarts, it's going to be pretty wild.
Front row here, Mike.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com. You mentioned that you need to win a race or two to get into the chase. At this point, you're 29 points out of the top 10. With the number of races left, do you feel like you're at that point that you're going to have to get in as a wild card? Do you guys feel like you still have a shot at making the top 10 in points?
No, I mean, we were, I want to say, 30 points, 30 points behind Newman going into Talladega, and he wound up getting wrecked, or he blew a motor, and now we're ahead of him. So, the 29 points gets eaten up pretty quick. So I mean, you can get in the chase without winning a race, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier if you win a couple.
Over here to Monty.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Sad to say I'm not in the Piedmont Triad. A lot of people in the past few weeks, when they've been asked about the format, they'd say, they changed the format? Or, I didn't even know. Is it important to you when you're doing this race to know how this thing works? Have you noticed it like when they first announced it? Or is this just the type of thing that the driver, his spotter, his crew chief tells him what to do, you point me in the right direction, I just drive the race car?
When the announcement was made what the format is, I read it, then I kind of put it out of my mind for a month or so, and I kind of revisited it this past week just to kind of get acclimated back to it. But I mean, the crew chiefs, spotters, all those guys will have, a physical sheet of paper that says do this, do this, do this, and us riding around, we won't have that. So and we're thinking about a lot of other things, and so they'll keep me up on that, I'm sure. I do know that if you win an early segment, you start up front towards the end, and that's what's most important.
Go ahead, Mike, front row.
One more for you, Paul. Talked to Slugger Labby last week, and he said you guys were able to do a test at Nashville with multiple cars with this new aero package that NASCAR's coming out with. Did that provide the cars that were behind a car the ability to pull up a little bit better and possibly have the ability to pass a little easier than it has been with the pass package we had?
The 29 and the 31 did the Nashville test, and that's the week that was last week. We were in New Hampshire for the tire test, so we played with the side skirts. We unloaded. We had to wait out the rain for a while. When we finally got on the track, unloaded with the side skirts like normal, and the second run we cut them and went back out, and it was a tenth. It was a tenth slower, but we weren't around other cars, and I haven't really talked to Burton or Harvick as to if they ran in traffic with each other at the Nashville test. New Hampshire being quite a bit slower than Nashville, we couldn't get as good a read on it as those guys could. But they're playing within the wind tunnel, and it's a pretty noticeable difference.
Anything else for Paul? Paul, thanks for coming in, and good luck in your Sprint All-Star race debut.
Thank you.